Hi, are you ready for your 21 questions?
Hi, come on in.
Alrighty, so first let's start off with what classes do you teach at East?
I teach American Government, U.S. History, and Social Skills at Shawnee Mission East.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay, next question. Is it true that you are legally blind?
It is. I've been legally blind since birth.
Wow, so how does being legally blind affect you?
That's an interesting question. Well, it affects everything I do, but the major ways it affects me in the workplace is sometimes I can struggle with things like spatial awareness in the classroom. So a lot of times it'll just seem like a group of faces. So sometimes recognizing faces from a distance can be difficult. Same thing with the halls. So I rely a lot on recognizing voices and things like that, which helps me a lot. But the big thing for me is like transportation, because I can't drive. So I have to get rides places or take an Uber, things like that.
Alrighty. Okay, so next, what would you do on a day off?
What do you mean by day off? Is it a weekend day off? Is it a...
Up to interpretation.
Sometimes me and my friends, we like to go, get together, go out for a night of karaoke singing. Where a lot of us were big into karaoke. Or sometimes I'll go with my friends, we'll play some board games or play Dungeons and Dragons. It just varies. We do a lot of different things.
Ooh, what's your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to... I will give you the edited version, because I don't know if I can say the original version on this, but I like to sing S.O.B. by Nathaniel Rateliff.
Alrighty. Next. Okay. What is the best compliment you've ever received?
The best compliment that I've ever received, probably, and I've got this from a few kids, is probably Mr. Laird. You're the most caring teacher I've ever had. Because that's what I try and do. I try to be flexible and caring. That's what I pride myself. I don't think I'm the best educator in the building by far, but I do think I am one of the more flexible and caring and willing to work with students. So I pride myself on that.
Well, awesome. Okay, next. Who is someone you would like to meet from the past?
So like a historical figure?
Yes.
That is an interesting question. I would probably like to meet Teddy Roosevelt. I think he was one of our more interesting presidents, and I think he has a very interesting perspective of the world and America itself and what it's like to be an American. So I think that would be very interesting. Plus, he was very outdoorsy, outgoing. It would be an interesting experience, I'm sure.
I agree. Okay. What weird accomplishment are you most proud of?
The weirdest accomplishment is when I was in high school. I did similar to how we have something at the CIA or what used to be Broadmoor. I was in the culinary program, and I was on the culinary arts team. And our team, out of over 50 high schools in Kansas, our team won the culinary arts competition, and then we placed 11th in nationals when we competed against all the other states. So that's a pretty proud accomplishment for me, especially going back to one of the earlier questions about me being legally blind. A lot of people, when I first went to culinary school, thought it was going to be a struggle, because it's not just cooking, it's an art, and you got to make stuff look right and everything. And, you know, with my sight, a lot of people thought that would be difficult. Not that they were like negative on me, but they didn't know I could do that. So coming to that, accomplishing that rather, meant a lot to me.
Wow, that's really impressive. Wow.
Thank you.
Next, what's one responsibility you really wish you did not have?
What's one responsibility I really wish I did not have, just like in general?
Yeah, Yeah.
I would be at my house, and I would be the one who is responsible for cleaning the litter boxes for all of our cats.
Yikes, that does not sound fun.
It's not the most fun.
Okay, next. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I ever received, my brother gave it to me, and I tell my seniors every year at the end of the semester, is when you sign up for classes in college, don't take an 8 a.m. class because you won't go to it unless unless it's a required course. Don't do it.
I'll remember that. Wow. Okay. Next, in contrast, what's the worst piece of advice you ever received?
What's the worst piece of advice I ever received? A friend of mine, when I was considering a career change, because originally I was going to school to be a chef, and I went to culinary school for a year, and I was kind of deciding this isn't for me. And a friend of mine, and this sounds like it's going to be very, bad, but I told my friends I was thinking about becoming a teacher, and they said, I don't think that's a good idea with your vision. We think the kids will kind of take advantage of that. And the reason it's bad advice, and I know it was from a good place. They meant it in a positive way, but I've only had a few kids ever make it an issue. So, I'm glad I did not listen to that advice.
I'm sure, but there are a lot of other people who would say that too.
Yeah.
Okay, next. If you were put into solitary confinement for 6 months, what would you do to stay sane?
Oh my goodness. That's difficult. Well, I would read if I could. If I couldn't, besides sleeping, I would try and write a lot. Try and share my thoughts that way.
That's an interesting perspective. Okay, are you a morning person or a night person?
Night person. I don't like getting up early, which is funny because I'm a teacher and I got to be here at 7:20. But I am not an early person. Never have been.
Alrighty. Next, who is someone that inspires you?
Who is someone that inspires me? That's an interesting question. Let me think on that for a second. So, someone who inspires me, I'd have to say my grandfather, who passed away probably 16, 17 years ago. He had the same eye condition I did, but he grew up with it before they really knew about it, and before we have a lot of the technology we have that benefits me. So he was real inspiration for me, and just him living with it, and also just the charitable work he did, and him always looking to do what was right and help people. I kind of try and mirror my life after his.
Wow, that's inspiring. Okay, next, what is your best impression of someone famous?
What is my best impression of someone famous? I don't know if I have an impression of someone famous. That's, oh my gosh. Only thing that's coming to mind is Nixon is, I'm not a crook.
I think that was pretty spot on. Okay, our next question is, what should be taught in school but isn't?
What should be taught in school but isn't? I try and do it. I don't know if it's explicitly taught, but focusing more on the skills kids need outside of school rather than just focusing on the content and the A, B's, and C's and stuff like that. I think our goal is to get you all ready for life outside of high school, and I don't think memorizing dates and times and names does that. So I think going to a more skills-based focus, I think, is important, including like job skills training, which again, some kids get by taking a few classes, but it's not like a required course. So I think that would be something that would help kids a ton.
Alrighty. Okay. Next. If you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for?
What would I wish for? Oh, that's interesting. I would wish for equality, for one thing, for all people, all genders, all people, regardless of your sexual orientation, your race. So true equality would be one thing. That's one of my passions, is fighting for that in life. Another, it's kind of a cop-out one, but probably, end hunger in the world, or erase like the gap from the extreme poverty in places like Africa, Asia, even South America, and even in America. And then a big personal one for me would be eliminating the achievement gap in education. So getting rid of the gap of people who, less to-do people who are less off, unfortunately go to schools or are put in educational situations that are not as great as the ones like we have here in Shawnee Mission East. So eliminating that has been, that's the reason why I got into education. And so eliminating that would be one of those wishes as well.
Wow. That's really selfless. Okay, next. How would you describe your music taste?
I like everything but country music.
I can agree with that.
My favorite music, my favorite band is either AC/DC, the Rolling Stones, or Modest Mouse. So again, there's variety right there. But I'll listen to anything, pop, rap, anything.
All right. Okay, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh.
And why?
My biggest pet peeve? I would just say probably people who make excuses when you don't need to. Like there's one thing if you need to make an excuse, like you're in a serious situation and you're trying to get out of it. But like if you messed up and you forgot to do your assignment or whatever, my whole thing is like, just be honest. I'll work with you, but be honest. So teachers, we can tell when kids are lying. So that's kind of my pet peeve. Just be honest. So that's my big thing.
Okay. If you were a teacher, weren't a teacher, what would you be?
If I weren't a teacher, maybe I would be in culinary, but I got burnt out on that. But if I wasn't a teacher, I'd probably want to do something in politics. And I've looked into that throughout my life, like working on campaigns, and I've done that before. I did that this summer. I worked on a presidential campaign, but I find it fun and I find it engaging, and I really like that, like, not necessarily the policy aspect, but like getting out there and looking at the actual, how do you win a campaign? I find that very interesting.
Good to know. Okay. And this is our last question.
Okay.
Do you have a hidden talent? And if so, can you show us?
Oh my goodness. I can't really show you. I would say my talent is I'm very good at cooking. But I can't show you that because I don't have anything here to cook. I'm used to be pretty decent at music. I played the guitar and cello. But I don't have like any good talent that I can show you right now. I don't know. What do people usually do for this?
Really anything, I think. Whatever you want.
I have no idea. I mean, I have a talent at not being afraid to embarrass myself. So I don't know. Maybe I could bust a move here.
Oh, yes.
Real quick. I can pull something up here.
I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it. I'm a survivor. Keep on surviving.
There you go.
What a show!
Yeah, normally I'd karaoke for y'all, but I don't have the setup, so.
Well, thank you for doing that for us. We appreciate your time.
No problem. Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.